Volunteers from Call to Duty traveled to Bangladesh this month to deliver aid to refugees expelled from Burma. Here, in their own words, there's a detailed account of what they saw on the ongoing crisis involving the Muslims of Rohingya. Words by Amar Abbas. Through donations they have delivered 1,250 family food packs. 5,000 people now have life-saving food, and the group helped to install a 1,000 meters water well. Day 12. We've been on the road since 10 a.m. We headed straight to the military liaison office who are coordinating all relief efforts. We found out the latest camp most in need, and headed straight over with 6 trucks, containing 1,250 family food packs providing life-saving food to just under 5,000 sisters, brothers, children and elderly. The people were too grateful, thanking us constantly. It is as if we had done something special. We reminded them that the people of the UK were the ones that made it possible, but it was in fact an honor for us to serve others. As the beautiful religion of Islam teaches us. Met a brother who lost his father during the massacre in his village. He described in detail the atrocities they suffered and their torturous journey from genocide in Burma to now starvation in Bangladesh. Words cannot describe the emotions he displayed, and I could not fathom any kind of response to console him. Nothing, not a single word. Just a hug and a duaa for his father, who is shaheed and will be granted Jannatul Firdaus. Amin. As I lay here in my bed, all clean and warm, I keep thinking of the children who were sitting literally in ankle-deep mud, with raw sewage and the stench. Day 3. It has been the most arduous day of our life. It started by visiting Shahpuri Island, commonly known as Point Zero. This is essentially the first landfall where most Burma Muslims arrive in Bangladesh. The river Naf separates both countries, one committing genocide and the other a safe haven from the atrocities. We assisted families arriving that morning with essential supplies. We offered bottles of water to a family that we met during the peak heat, who had been walking for 8 days straight. A small girl lay motionless on her father's shoulder. As her father put a few drops of water to her mouth, she regained consciousness and became somewhat responsive. I witnessed the true power of clean water and will never see water the same way again. After physically assisting families, we then spent some time supporting families in the camps. We arrived at one camp at Maghreb Salah evening prayer, providing support to some of the 250,000 refugees, yes, 250,000 who were essentially sat on the bare ground with no food, no money and little hope. Whilst there, we were called to another camp following news that a child had died. We went quickly to see the funeral preparation of Abdul Shukr, aged just 7. His father informed us that he had died whilst crossing the river, fleeing the Burmese army and militia who had been hounding them for days. The family made it across the treacherous conditions today, but sadly Abdul Shukr did not. I performed his Salatul Janazah in congregation and then had the honor of carrying his small and fragile body to his final resting place, before helping his father to bury Abdul Shukr. Even whilst writing this I am reflecting, and it brings me great sadness that Abdul Shukr suffered the way he did. As a father myself I cannot even fathom what it must be like to bury your own child. Abdul's father remained in a state of shock throughout. This message is to the entire world today. A beautiful boy, Abdul Shukr, age 7, died due to the genocide and persecution the people of Rohingya are suffering. He also died because of the inaction of our political leaders, who now need to step up and be counted. Burma needs to be told that genocide in 2017 will not be accepted. Full stop. There must not be another single innocent death. The Abdul Shukrs of this world need to be able to live a safe, long and happy life. Day 4. It was our last full day at the camp. We started off with distributing 3,500 hot meals to the new arrivals camp. We met with refugees who all had a story to tell. Unfortunately, all the stories were of death, persecution and fear. At the camp, I met a brother from Burma, who described to me in detail how his immediate family of 2 sons and his wife had survived their treacherous ordeal. Unfortunately, he was made to witness his 2 sisters and their 2 daughters burned alive. He described their painful death, and how he reminisces about them all. The moment he told me this, he burst into tears, as did I and everyone else listening. It was a heartfelt moment between men, who usually hide their emotions, all united in grief. He told me that his focus was now his 2 sons, and ensuring that their education does not suffer. He is homeschooling them and wants them to be successful. He further told me that refugees were being persecuted for simply being Muslim. He described how the army there regularly rounds up men with beards and then literally sets the beard alight in order to set a deterrence and also to eliminate all religious leaders. I asked him what can now be done to help the refugees. He replied in a sentence with dignity. He responded that every human has his or her dignity and one must not forget this even if the person is a refugee. He also said he refused to be labeled as a refugee, as he wanted to progress and provide stability for his 2 boys. We went further to another camp, where we paid for a fresh water pump, with an electric generator to power the pump as well as a 14 cleaning station to be installed. I really do appreciate the value of water, every single drop. On the final part of our day, we went to complete a masjid roof project. The masjid already existed but there was no roof and no flooring. Unsurprisingly, it was a challenge to use. We purchased bamboo and metal sheeting to cover the roof and also to install some flooring. As it is our final evening here, I am sat here contemplating whether we have made the difference. The scale of need is huge, over 1.5 million refugees. Yes, million. Are we being selfish to now go home to our homes and families and leave these sisters and brothers in this state? What is going to happen to them now that I have had this perspective of life? What changes do I need to make an ongoing difference? As I leave this visit on a very solemn note, I leave feeling empty and deeply troubled. What world are we living in where genocide is tolerated and conveniently ignored? Day 5. With a heavy heart today we have left Bangladesh. 6 days since leaving the comforts of home and spending many hours in the refugee camps, we have achieved the following with your generous donations. Thank you so much for your support. Your donations are still coming through. Please keep them coming. The next volunteer team is coming out at the end of October to deliver more aid. Donate at www.justgiving.com. Carl Toda to Rohingya.